How do you think about confession? I think the prayers of confession for me has been one of those areas that I have struggled in my whole entire life. I think if the truth be told, I'm really a Pharisee at heart. And from the time I was really little, I learned how to convince myself and everyone else that I had no sin, that I didn't intend to do it, it wasn't my fault, and I have a whole variety of ways to be able to defend myself. And so prayers of confession have been, for me, something that I've had to grow in and had to learn. And part of my process has been to have a journal where I used it as my confession journal. And not so much for a place where I would record my own personal prayers of confession, but a place where I would write down the prayers of confession that were meaningful to me. I've used a variety of sources from the scripture and prayers of confession that I found in Daniel, Nehemiah, the Psalms. Also, I've used the prayers of confession from the Pilgrims, or from the Book of Common Prayer, or other written prayers that have been meaningful. And so during these short videos, I would like to be able to share with you some of those prayers of confession, that maybe they would be helpful to you to make them your own. I especially found the Book of Common Prayer's prayer of confession, where the prayer says that I'm a miserable offender, and I felt like, how can I even begin to pray that prayer with any kind of integrity when I don't feel that I'm a miserable offender? And so it has been a journey for me, and as I have prayed these prayers and made them more part of my devotional time, I've begun to understand them at a deeper level. And I think for me, one of the insights was that I tend to think of myself on a scale, if you were to have a scale from 1 to 100, where the worst of sinner is at 1 and Jesus is at 100, that I'm on the 75-85% end of the scale. I'm almost there, but not quite. And the reality is that I'm nowhere near Jesus. The reality is that I'm much closer to the worst offender than I am to Jesus. And as I have had to own that and to understand that and to read the scriptures and to listen to Jesus and to hear him talk about the motive and the why we do things, that has been where I have found freedom to be able to see the truth of who I am, and then be able to relish the grace that Jesus offers to me. I have also found that I wasn't able to see that when I felt that God might be mad at me or somehow exclude me. For me, it has been basking in God's love that has then freed me to be able to see the wonder of his love for me, that has freed me to be able then to open myself to see for myself how he sees me, and to see my sin, and then to be able to release that to him, knowing that he already knows my sin and that he loves me anyway, that he died to pay for that. And it is only myself who doesn't see the sin. My husband certainly sees the sin. Everybody around me sees it. I'm the only one who is blind to it. And so because of his grace, because of his love, because of years of being able to settle into the truths of who I am, then I am able then to pray these prayers of confession with a little more integrity and heartfelt sorrow. But I think it's important for us to begin, and just to begin wherever we are. We can't confess in a way that we aren't able to, so we might as well start where we are able and grow in that. So I would like to share with you some of these prayers that have been meaningful to me, prayers down through the centuries, in hopes that maybe they would be of meaning to you as you begin on your retreat.